the point of the melody, though, with the rhythm. How do you sing this melody, by the way? Comfort, comfort ye my people, speak in peace, so says our God. Comfort those who sit in darkness. I heard a wonderful performance of it in Geneva last summer. Authentic voices singing in authentic context in Calvin's church. Come on in, my instrumentalists. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to break at 10, so we'll get up at 7. Right, you can sit anywhere you want to. Thanks. Thank you so much. We're looking for a violin player any moment, not to sit. Okay. And the context was Calvin's church in Geneva was this kind of structure, but it was larger. And pillars, and high ceiling, whatever, lots of reverberation time. And the choir sang, "Long come be my people, speak peace, and I was so comforted. No pun intended. I really was. Because this was chant-like. It had its roots way back here in chant. And they were singing it as a chant. But one of the beauties of the Reformation was that it took the music out of the church. The people learned songs. They took it home with them. Calvin actually created hymn books. The Genevan Psalter. As you know, they had no hymn books before that. It was all done by the choir. And the choir rehearsed, and then they sang it for the people, and the people went home, and they had nothing to do all week but just milk their cows and do whatever they did. But no, the people had hymn books. After Calvin and Luther, Luther created his own hymns. Calvin hired people to write tunes for the songs that metricalized the songs, actually. The psalms were all metricalized, put into portrait form, and into 3 of the meters, the small meter, 1 meter, common meter, as you all know about. But each of the psalms were metricalized, poeticized in French, so that they could now be sung. Now the people could sing the psalms, not only read them, they had their Bibles, but now they could sing them, take their psalters home with them, and sing them around the kitchen table, in the fireplace, wherever they were, out in the barn if they wanted to. Comfort ye my people, speak ye peace, and thus saith God. Because where were they? They're not in this kind of an environment, which demanded a certain kind of tempo. In this kind of environment, you can't go, comfort ye my people, speak ye peace, thus says our God. If you get a whole congregation of people doing that, what's going to happen? It's going to go into mush, right? But if you go out into the shoe shop, the bakery, and somebody's going, I know that song. We sang that last Sunday in church. Yeah. And everybody's singing it. And then you go out into the plaza. You know, there's wonderful plazas there in Europe. And you get everybody singing. And they may be dancing too. And it works. And hymnody becomes important to the very lives of the people. It's just thrilling to imagine. And then what happens? Bach comes along. Turn over to hymn number 61. My friends, with instruments, you can find the hymn. Here's a. Yeah.
Need some more hymns?
This is the one I want to tell us to have.
We have 4 parts for this one.
Yes, right. Has anybody got a yellow candle out here? Oh, the red one. Anybody have the red one?
There really isn't any difference there.
No, there isn't.
Other than the color.
Okay.
The difference of this with this hymnal is that the ones that just have the melody in it is often the harmonization isn't necessarily it's just a harmonization but not to be sung in parts. And the other, for instance, with the Bach, the Bach chorale is in harmonization, but there's also a version of the rhythmic version in
Okay, so that would be on 62. What do you got for 62? Well, this is a good example of it. Turn to 62. What do you see? 62. You see Bach? No. What version do you know? They were on 61, right? My friend, what is your name?
Matthew.
Matthew. Thank you. Do you have the harmonized version?
So roughly it's 60.
Okay. What is the in your organ?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Matthew, and your name? Kim? Yes, thank you, Kim. Oh, yes, let's switch with Matthew.
Looks like I see 61, you said?
Yeah, 61. You're right. Let's hear Matthew play the bass line for 61. Come on.
So in 4 then, right? To be an imaginary string player. Come on in, we need you. Thank you for coming. We need one more band. Where'd it go?
Right.
Yes. Oh, there it is. Right. If you can actually feel the direction of the bow, it's not rocket science. The bow is only this long. When you get to the end, you've got to go backwards. You've got to go the other direction. So a down bow basically is a down beat. The weight of the bow is out here on the air. And so an up bow would be at the tip of the bow. You've got to go up and down. Or down bow, down beat. Up bow, up beat. So if you're a musician of any sort, feel that physical response of the bow, and then it'll make you want to be a musician. Up, down. Instead of down, 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 down. Right. You begin to be musical. And then Matthew was doing 2 notes per bow for the 8th notes. He can do 4. Depends on how much bow he's using. Also depends on the dynamics and tempo, how much bow he's going to use. Good. And your name? Jay? J-A-Y, right? Jay, thank you, Jay, for being here. Jay, Matt, and Kim. Got it? Thank you, Jay. Matthew.
Would you leave it at chart so I can face?
Sure.
See the chart.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's make a little semicircle face. It's supposed to be in the middle. Yes. So maybe it's I see a big one. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, what's the difference between that solver and that we did
And this, take away the voice, the sounds of. We really haven't heard it yet, but it's organized this way, vertically. But don't let that fool you. That's why I asked Matthew to play the bass. It's organized this way. Bach wrote his harmonizations this way first. The melody and the bass line. Then he filled it in with Kim and Jay. Right, Jay? Yeah. Jay. Thank you, Jay. Okay. Then he added the soprano, the alto and the tenor parts. I'm not saying that Kim is playing alto part. I'm going to ask you to play some alto parts today, but it'll be within your range. Okay, now let's just do Kim and Matthew on this 61. You got the melody, don't you? Kim, Matthew, Jay.
You're the soprano and the bass parts right there.
That's just two voices, actually, outer voices. It takes some pre-service rehearsal, doesn't it? And if you've got musicians that are sensitive musicians, they will do anything that you do, for good or for bad. So what's the difference between a classic era hymn and a chant now? What's a classic era hymn? We talked about a Renaissance hymn. Renaissance, medieval, early music, chant, and now a Bach chorale, which is organized in both senses. What's a classic hymn? Have you ever heard of a classical hymn? What hymn would remind you, or what hymn would you think of as a classical hymn? Yes. I'm going to show a number to the group here. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just the group. It's the one circle.